So what's up, guys? We're back.
I'm so uncomfortable.
As Asia gets comfortable. You okay, babe?
I don't know. I feel hot.
You feeling all right?
Space in between feels like there's just jeans packed into it.
And we currently are live on TikTok. So I think, is that making you, are you feeling the pressure?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yes.
Sorry.
Don't say anything that'll get you canceled. Okay, I'm just reminding you. We are currently live on TikTok.
You make me sound like, that's fine.
What?
Nothing. You're just funny. Okay, so what's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode. I feel like I'm not sitting up. I feel like I look like a whale. Okay.
Nope.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Hanging Out Forever. My name is Asia Corinne, and I'm here with my boyfriend of 7 years, Grant.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing great. Just kind of getting back into the flow of things, after we just got back from our month-long Europe trip. Just kind of getting back to it, trying to settle back down, and then we literally leave again for
Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. So we're
jet setters.
Yeah, we're back to back vacationing.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah,
I feel okay. I get like a lot of social anxiety. Like there's so many DMs in my personal mailbox that I have not read. Because I think that from our personal from our business Instagram page, from Hanging Out Forever, our podcast Instagram page, it's a lot easier for me to connect with people because there's like not that level of close familiarity. So it doesn't exhaust me as much to talk to people who I don't know as much as it does to talk to people that I do know. And so like being live right now on TikTok is giving me kind of a lot of that level of anxiety where it feels like I have to perform or I have to be interesting in order for people to stay and stick around. And it's just, I don't like it. It's making me so uncomfortable.
I think that the best thing to do is just to kind of forget that it's even here, forget that it's happening, and just, do what we do. Because, I mean, even when we set up the cameras and do the podcast, there still is, I feel like we have a natural comfort when we do the podcast because, one, we're doing it in our living room, so there's already that comfort, but then there's also, the aspect of it's not live. Nobody's watching in this moment. We can cut whatever we want. We can do however we want with it. But, I think just be comfortable. Just try to be comfortable. It's not like we say anything too crazy or anything like that.
No, it's not about saying anything crazy. It's more about saying something that makes somebody think I'm interesting so that they'll stick around. And that's a very weird feeling. It's very performative. And I feel like the podcast, I guess it's performative in a way, but it's also not. So it's interesting having to entertain people to get them to stay and then for them to be interested enough to like follow or whatever the case may be. And so I personally feel like that stresses me out a little bit. And I'm like looking to see how many viewers we have because it's our first time going live, and like relative to how many people have followers on TikTok and stuff like that, we don't have any relative to what people are really doing, So
I think the best thing to do though is to like make sure that you're just like being yourself, because clearly us being ourselves and us communicating and us putting that out there into the world is working. Like people are interested in it in some type of way, whether it's you doing street interviews, which is you being yourself but interacting with other people in the world. I think that the main thing is to just be yourself and not try to perform, like don't try to be so like hyperactive, or don't feel like you need to do something extra, just kind of be yourself and just be chill and just, let's have conversation. That's what a podcast is. And, the TikTokers are getting the exclusive look on it right now. But, I think that the main thing, especially with podcasting, I feel like the most important thing is to kind of be yourself. And I think that the interesting aspect that we bring to the table is our relationship and our experience in a relationship, in a serious 7-year relationship. And I feel like we, at that point, we're pretty professional, you know, in a sense. We're like, I would say that we are,
Like, we know what we're talking about.
we know what we're talking about because we've had lots of experiences together.
Yeah.
We've had lots of experiences in a relationship together. So, you know, I think that we have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's okay. And, you know, and then when you go out into the world and we do the questions, we interact with people, you know, I feel like we know what to ask because we're like thinking of questions that either we ask each other or things that we think of, you know, because of our relationship and because of the experiences we've had together. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that we're qualified.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that like what's really interesting about us and our dynamic is just the openness, you know, of everything.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny because I'm just thinking of some of the like behind the scenes shots that we were looking at of when we were in London, and we did interviews with people. You know, you were just like baffled at some of these couples out there.
Oh my
because
God.
they just had like nothing good to say about their significant others. They they couldn't even reach and like figure something out to say. It was
I would
insane.
be like, you know, you guys have been together for like 40 years. What's one thing that you really love about her? I don't know. You don't know?
Yeah, I know.
What you been doing for 40 years then? Just kicking it on the couch? You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the kindest thing she's ever said to you? I don't know. I think that would, I don't know.
So
that would
funny.
really like annoy me if I felt like if somebody asked you what's something you love about me and you couldn't answer the question, I'd be like, hello.
I know.
You know, that's so weird.
I wonder if we started any fights that day.
No, because
Probably
nobody
not.
knew.
Because the
We
wives
asked the woman
didn't.
and we asked the
They
man, and
had
neither of
nothing
them
to
had an
say
answer.
either. Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, what do you mean? What would you say that your favorite thing is about me? I'm going to use this to mod. So
What would I say my favorite thing is about you?
Is that what the question was when we asked them on the street? We asked
Yeah, well,
them-
it was that. And then it was also like, what's the kindest thing your partner's ever said to you?
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about you, you said?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about you is probably like just like your outgoing like energy, you know, because it really helps me. It pulls me outside of my box. And I think that we have, you know, different personalities, but I think that when we're around each other, they mesh really well together because I have like a high tolerance for your energy. And then, you know, I chill you out if you need to be chilled out.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a good balance there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about me?
I think that my favorite thing about you is you're consistent. Yeah, like I know that if I mess something up or if I make a mistake, then I am not going to be blindsided by your reactions, and that you're very calm, and that consistency and that level of calm energy is something that I really need personally because it makes me feel comfortable and safe. And so you being consistent, not like the favorite thing, but it's one of them. It's just kind of like, I know at the end of the day, you're going to love me. I know at the end of the day, you're going to think I'm beautiful. And I know at the end of the day that you're going to be there. And I have a lot of abandonment issues. So for me, it's important to be with somebody that I can feel that level of consistency with. Yeah. And it just makes me feel very seen and valued.
Good. Like emotional consistency.
Yeah. I mean, emotional consistency,
just
physical
consistency. And,
consistency.
Okay. Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're here, you know what I mean? Like you could be emotionally consistent, but if you were like never home, that would kind of suck. Yeah. So I just think that all around you're very consistent.
Yeah. And that's, you know, you saying like you being around, you being home, I feel like that's something that I really want to instill in my life when it comes to us getting married and making sure that, you know, if we're married or have a kid, I want to make sure that I'm around as much as possible, you know, and that honestly, I feel like would be like the most important thing to me. Obviously, like I need to go to work and I need to do my, you know, I need to make money and things like that, but I want to set it up so I can be gone as less as possible,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I just want to be there for like certain moments of my kids' lives and certain moments with you, you know. I feel like that's like the most important thing to me. And I feel like growing up, my parents didn't really like focus on that as much. Like they were
Being around.
definitely, yeah, my parents definitely, I feel like kind of put their professions first. And in a way of where they spend their time and where they put their time, you know, because my parents were they were always working. And, you know, every day after school, I would go to like an after school program.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home late at night. My parents would just be exhausted from the day, you know? And so it was rare that we did have like sit down dinners and things like that in the weekends, but it wasn't a consistent, you know, like I feel like every day I want to be there to pick up my kid from school and come home and make them like lunch, make them dinner, and like sit down, communicate with them, ask them how their day was, have them participate in the cooking. You know, I feel like that was something that I never did with my family, was participate in making dinner, cooking dinner. Yeah. And that sounds like something that is like such a good bonding moment. And I just feel like I missed out, you know,
really?
in a way. Yeah, I do. But it's something that I want to do with my partner and do with my family.
Well, I'm really good at like helping you cook. Like you'll be like, hey, I'm going to make turkey lettuce wraps. And I'm on the couch like, hey, you're doing great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're a great sous chef. Definitely. You're a great sous chef from the couch.
I'm like, smells delicious.
No, but I love cooking for you though. That's my favorite.
I love when you cook for me. I love that you cook, because I'll just be like, you want some food? I'll try to start cooking, and then you'll be like, move out of the kitchen.
It's all right,
get out.
babe, I got it.
Grant is the only man on the planet that doesn't want a woman in the kitchen. He's like, leave.
I know, yeah. I'm going to make you sandwiches every day.
Yeah. When you get home at 5 p.m., I'm going to make you a sandwich. Yeah. No, please don't.
But that's just something that I want to be conscious of too, you know. Just when we end up having a family, or you know, when we end up getting married or whatever it is, you know, I just want to make sure that we have like time together.
Yeah. Do you feel like, how do you feel like more time with your parents would have influenced you as a person and as an adult? And then what are some things that you really wish you had growing up from your parents?
I think that I wish I had more like life lessons from them. Wow.
Okay.
And I feel like I would have gotten that if they were more present and just there more on a day-to-day basis. Because I think that you pick things up like that on a day-to-day when it's just these little things, you know. And I feel like I kind of missed out on that. I missed out on picking up little life lessons and just how to do certain things and be independent in certain ways. And I feel like that's I feel like I would have been more independent if I was able to learn certain things, you know.
So no shade to your parents, but do you feel like your parents raised you intentionally, or do you think that they raised you as their duty to being parents? Because there's some people who are like, I'm a parent, let me make sure this kid is fed, and like I wipe its ass when it's a baby, and I teach it how to use a spoon, and I teach it how to walk, and then I teach it how to shave and change a tire, and that's it, you know.
Yeah,
versus
just like the essentials.
Yeah, the essentials. Do you feel like there was essential parenting versus essential and intentional parenting?
I think that there was mainly essential parenting instead of intentional, and not as emotional.
Yeah.
Because I think that you really grow that emotional bond by, like what I said, doing like a day-to-day connecting, you know, and then it builds over time. Because my entire life, you know, I've always seen my parents as my parents. I haven't really seen them as like a friend or somebody I can come to, you know?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because I would say, you know, you and your mom for sure, I feel like you guys are best friends.
Besties.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
like communicate like
Yeah,
best
yeah.
friends, you know, and you can tell her anything, and that she'll comfort you, you know, that she will be there for you in that way. And my parents, I know they'll be there for me whenever I need them, but there's just not that connection there because it wasn't built up over the years. It wasn't like built up day to day communication, connecting in that way. So that's just something that I know I want with my kids.
Yeah.
Because you're literally living proof of what it can do, and I feel you are so intuitive and you've learned so much from your parents.
Yeah. Well, my parents were also very intentional about teaching me things that I needed to know.
Exactly.
Like I never just walked through life not being able to access my parents' knowledge. Mm-hmm. If I had a question, they always answered it. Yeah. And like they also very much supported me being an inquisitive person. So I would always ask, you know, my dad used to hate going to the movies with me as a kid because I'd be like, what's happening now? Who's that? Where's he going?
Yeah.
And he's like, I haven't seen it, you know, like, you know, and my mom, I would always ask like, what if questions? And my parents were very creative. They're very creative people. Yeah. And so I think because of that, they found creative ways to parent. And
yeah, that too.
They've influenced me in those ways because like when I was a kid, I could not count. Like I couldn't figure out how to count. I didn't understand math at all.
Yeah.
You know, and so what my mom was like, okay, well, she likes money and she likes food. So what she would do is she would spill out a bunch of M&Ms on the table and be like, how many M&Ms are these? And it'd be like 10. And she would take some away and she'd be like, now how many do you have? Plus this times this. And like she taught me how to count using M&Ms, which I was like, that's cool. And I got to eat them.
Yeah. That's the best way. Yeah. Can't, like you're a kid and you're like candy. I'm locked in. I'm paying attention. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about is the creativeness there and, doing certain things that you know will interest your kid and you know will just keep creating that bond between you guys because now you appreciate that. You know, and later in life you're like, wow, I love that you did this. You know, it made me appreciate it. And I think that's what is lacking, the appreciation.
For your parents?
In certain ways.
Huh. Which ways?
Like in that way of being like intentional and emotional and connecting.
Do you feel like in some ways your parents kind of were just like did you ever feel dismissed? Did you ever feel not that they were dismissive, not that they were like actively dismissive, but did you ever feel dismissed by your parents?
In a way, yeah.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Well, just yeah, I mean in a way, yeah. That's basically what I'm saying, you know, is that they I guess weren't around as much as I probably needed them to be. Because I'm not going to say that I wanted them around because they're like my parents. And like I said, we didn't have a close friendship bond. I saw them as my authoritative figures, you know, my parents. And I was like, these people ground me, you know, so I don't know if I want them around or want them like knowing what I'm doing.
These people are the man, and the man is gonna oppress you.
And I stick it to the man. So you know, so it obviously as a kid I'm like, oh yeah, my parents aren't home, you know. So and my parents wouldn't come home until later at night. So I'll, you know, once it came time for me not doing after school services or whatever, you know, because I was like in like elementary school.
I used to go to those too.
Yeah, but by middle school, I was taking the bus home.
Yeah.
And then I would just come home, be alone, and do whatever the hell I wanted.
For how many hours?
I mean, we get out at what, like 3? Yeah. And my parents would get home around like 6:30.
Oh, that's not that bad. 3 hours?
It's not crazy, but...
That's not that bad at all.
But, I mean, 3 hours for a kid, that's like forever. You know, you can do a lot in 3 hours.
That's true. That's so true.
You can do a lot in 3 hours. But I would come home, not do my homework, call up my buddies, and they would all just come to my house and we would just hang out and ride bikes and do whatever the hell we wanted. And then, you know, the axe got a little bit more, you know,
delinquent.
Delinquent.
Go ahead, be real. Your ex got more delinquent.
More delinquent the
he was
older I
in
got.
some shit.
And
yeah.
because the same it was the same pattern. My parents
Wow.
wouldn't get home until 6:30, 7 p.m. And I would have my house to myself. And I had a lot of friends that lived in the neighborhood.
Right.
And they would all just come to my house. Like my house was the spot. All their parents were home. All their parents were home at when they got home. So I was like the place they're like, oh, there's no parents there. Let's go over there. And they have a full bar of alcohol. So at all times.
Little alcoholic children. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think that being close with your parents can be a double-edged sword, though, because I love my parents and I'm super, super, super close with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that, to be honest, it gives me a level of anxiety because I feel like I have to perform to an expectation all the time. And not just do I have to perform to an expectation, I feel like I also have to be there emotionally for them. And I think that when you have the type of relationship I have with my parents, when you're as close to your parents as I am, I think that the older you grow, the more that the roles reverse, and then you kind of step more into a parent role, and they almost in a way become your children, because like they want to talk to you all the time because you're getting older and they're getting older, and they want to be attached to you, and not in a life force draining way, but they just I want to call my daughter and I want to see where she's going, because I think that the concept of mortality really starts to hit at an older age. And then they try to spend as much time with you as they can, because even though my parents never say this, I think that, not that they're scared of it, but I do think that they want as much time with us as possible. Almost, I don't want to say even more so, because my parents have always been like around, but I think that now that I'm an adult and I'm autonomous, I can see how my absence affects them more now than my absence when I was younger. Because when I went to live in India for 5 months, I feel like I was still living at home. And so I think that my mom missed me, but I think that she also felt like, woof, I don't have to take care of this person for 5 months. And now when I leave or when I go places, and you and I are talking about going to Europe and moving to Europe, my biggest anxiety is the time away from my parents, because our relationship is so close that I am in a way a life force for them. And I give them energy, because my dad, like when I'm not around, he'll be like, I'm so drained, I miss you, which is really sweet. It's really sweet. And I want to cultivate these relationships, but I do feel scared to miss out on certain parts of their life, because I want to do something for me for 1.5 years, for me for 2 years. And so,
and it's like they're your best friend, but you're also their best friend.
Exactly.
So they kind of come to you for certain things, that they want to get from a friend, and get from, not just a daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but I don't wish that I had the same relationship with my parents as your parents, because I need my parents.
Yeah.
In that way, like I love talking to my parents. I love talking to my mom and all these things, and my dad especially, because he and I are very similar emotionally and mentally. But I wish that I wasn't scared to do certain things in fear of missing out on time with them.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that you have.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could take some of that, because the idea of moving to Paris or moving to London is giving me anxiety. Because it's like, my parents, they're getting older. My parents.
Guys, we're probably going to move to London.
We're moving to London, y'all.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen.
I'm moving to London.
We're dipping to Europe. We just got back from the vacation, and sorry guys, but the U.S. is just not it.
It is ghetto here. It is ghetto as hell. I hate it.
Yeah, it's just not it. It's not it.
You know what I was thinking recently is that, like, so I'm from Atlanta originally, and Grant's from Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
And when I first moved to LA, I was like, LA, like it's the promised land of the United States, basically. Like it's this beautiful oasis, utopia of land. Everything is beautiful. The sunlight solves your problem, and so does the beach. And when we got back, I was like, this city is ghetto as hell. I hate the way people drive around here.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. LA is so nasty. And downtown LA is disgusting. It's so gross.
Our government has just completely failed us. So you really see... You just really see how Europe and London and just different countries there are really just profiting off of having a good government who actually like takes care of the essentials, you know? And so
they have bike
we want some of that. We want to live in some of that, you know. We're done living in whatever this is.
Yeah. And I think also like, it's so much cleaner out there. And I just have always wanted to move to Europe. It's like a bucket list thing. Did you get something out of the cat's eye with your bare hand? So if we have a kid, you're going to be on booger duty, because that is just, I cannot do that. Ugh. I always have to take a Q-tip and wet it, and I'll be like,
just a little like thing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She's good now. She's usually really clear.
Yeah, she's clear. She's cute.
Cleared out.
Yeah, I don't know, but
back to your parents.
Yeah.
And leaving them, and you feel.
I feel like I'm trying to make excuses to not leave, but I just like
to them, which you know. I think
it's giving me anxiety.
I think a lot of like, you know, children feel that way, or a lot of sons and daughters feel that way with their parents. You know.
I don't know.
But your parents are also very like autonomous in a lot of ways. What?
Be for real. They are. But like, if I didn't talk to either of my parents for weeks, they'd be like, what is life?
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. Like, I love them and I love hanging out with them and I love communicating with them, but it is a little bit of a pressure. But it feels weird. It really does feel like, well, I don't want to miss this milestone in my mom's life. Girl, your mama is elderly. You know, like, she's not old, but you know, they ain't young as hell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That gives me anxiety. But like, one thing that really reassures me is how supportive my family is of us. Yeah. Individually and as a unit. And like, my dad, like, both my parents love you, but my dad is like always rooting for you. Because if you and I have a problem, I go to him and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Please help me. And he'll say like, Grant's a great guy and he's going to make it work. And I believe in him. And I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. I love your family. I love them. And it would be sad to be away from them, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I think that, you know, like you said, we have a lot of things that we want to do in our life, and we have a lot of experiences that we want to experience. And even coming back from the Europe trip, we had this feeling of like, wow, we really did that, you know. We really had that experience, and that was something that was kind of on the bucket list of before we start making these big decisions in life, we want to do certain things, you know. And we've talked about living in Europe, you know. This isn't like a random thing that we just like are all of a sudden like, oh, let's go, you know. I think that it definitely made us feel okay, this is definitely something I want to do. But, you know, we've talked about that too, of living just somewhere else other than LA for at least like a year or two. Yeah. So I think that that's just another experience that we want to experience. And we should do that while we're young. Mm-hmm. But look at this kitty. But yeah, I think when it comes to the parenting thing, I just know how I want to do it. And I want to make sure that my kids know that they can come to me with anything and they have that connection with me. Yeah. And they have that friendship, but also, you know, they know what's up and they know that I'm the boss.
I'm the boss.
Yeah. But also just that respect in a way of, oh, like I trust my parent and I can come to them and I can get answers from them. And I know that they'll teach me about things and they'll teach me about life. And we have this day-to-day connection. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's just really important. Something that I really want with my kids.
That's sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to be close with my kids too. But I don't think that I'll be more of I think you'll be the emotional parent. Like, wow, I had to stub my toe. They going to you.
Yeah.
They're going to you.
Yeah.
But if they're like, "Wah, I stubbed my toe, mom, go beat up that table." I'm like, "Show me where the table is. Where's the table at?" you know, like I definitely think that we've had conversations about this, that you're the PTA parent and I'm the parent that pulls up when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're you're like I'm going to make muffins and spaghetti for the event tonight. And if they're in trouble and a principal's calling, I'm pulling up. You know what I mean? And I think that that's like a really healthy dynamic for kids to have. Because I think I'm more of a problem solver person. I'm not really always the person that you can come to and cry about things, because I'll be like, let's not cry about the thing. Let's try to fix the thing.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely a facet of my personality, but I'm scared to have kids. Pregnancy looks horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna try to avoid pregnancy at all cost.
Yeah, y'all, we're trying to get as ballin' as possible so I can afford, I can afford a surrogate.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
I do not want to be pregnant.
No, and we don't want to be pregnant in the U.S. We don't want to have a kid out here. It's just the medical system out here is just completely fucked. So that's another reason why we've been talking about Europe, you know, because they just have a much better system out there. But yeah. Should we get into? I think we've been talking for a while. I think we should get into a which is good. I think we can move on to the listener letter.
I do want to say that it's important for me that my parents support our relationship. I think if I didn't have the support of my parents in our relationship, that would really affect me, like a lot. Like if they were like, "I don't like Grant." I'd be like, oh my God, I'm missing something, because my parents are very intuitive. So it's really important that they like you and that they care about what we have going on. So, and that being said, I do kind of wish, like I love your parents, but I do wish that I had a closer relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I was really excited about like having a mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And I just wish that we had a closer relationship, but like at this point it's fine, you know? But it would be nice if your parents were like, "You're great for Grant, and we think you're so beautiful and funny and interesting." Because my parents are
they've told me that
always hyping you up.
Is that somebody trying to join our live? Oh no, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry guys, we're all the way over here, so we can't let people join live. Click. But we're about to read this listener letter. In my opinion, it's crazy. You guys can go ahead and leave comments, and we'll try to like mod through the comments from Grant's phone. So let's see. It's actually about parents. It's just so crazy. Okay. It's from Hanging Out Forever Submissions, us. And
I would bring down the volume just.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah. I'm like screaming. I forgot about the main thing here.
Okay,
which is the mics. Thank you.
So now we're getting into another listener letter that we got sent.
Yeah.
They've been pretty crazy so far. So, you know, I haven't read it. She gets sent all the listener letters and she kind of pre-reads them, and then she shows me to get a kind of a genuine reaction out of it.
One of these days we're going to swap, because I would like to be like,
okay, got you.
You know? Yeah. All right, y'all. So go ahead and continue liking this video up. Help us get to 200 likes. And here we go with this listener letter. So they don't want to remain anonymous. That's what we ask. Hi, would you like to remain anonymous? No. What's your first name? And her first name is Dania or Dania. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. And she needs some advice. Hey, Hanging Out Forever. I need some advice. I've been with my boyfriend for 7 years now, and we share a beautiful 5-year-old and also a home. Things have been going well, but we cannot get past the fact that his family hates me.
Oh.
Literally
just talking about
we
this.
Were just talking about parents. I think that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, I know everyone's going to say she did the like SpongeBob, like, oh, they must have a reason, you know, like the SpongeBob text. But no, the first interactions I had with them were not the best. His aunt told him to my face, I imagined you with someone thinner and like tan.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Jeez.
And that was hurtful because my boyfriend at the time didn't say anything. His older sister also body shames me at parties by serving me larger plates and telling people, no, this is for Dania. It has more.
Oh my gosh.
They also don't agree with the fact that I was raised by a single mom. To them, that's like insane.
They don't agree with it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not like she had a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane.
So stepping into a family like this made me realize there are horrible people out there. My question is, should I build up the courage to tell my boyfriend of 7 years that if his family keeps on disrespecting me, that I will walk away? I know it seems drastic, not to me. I know it seems drastic, but it's been 7 years of the same BS.
Wow.
And I'm so mentally tired and drained. He says, well, when I hear them being rude, I always walk away or remove you from the situation. But my stance is, why don't you defend me?
Yeah.
If my family were to ever be rude to him, I would put a stop to it immediately. He says he doesn't want to disrespect them. I'm to the point where I can't even see them anymore. It's always comments about my body or talking about how I was brought up with half siblings and no dad. And I've stood up for myself, but it's always turned into bad situations. One time it got so bad that it turned into a physical altercation with his sister. I'm ready to walk away, but I also don't want to give the family the satisfaction of seeing me give up. We share a home and a child. I just really need some advice on what to do.
Okay. So
That's
they
deep.
share a home and they have a kid together. So they're locked in.
She's pretty locked in.
Wow. Man, and a physical altercation with the sister.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what is wrong with your family, man? Like, has he not? I'm surprised that he isn't that way if his entire family is one way.
Yeah,
How did
that's a good
he
point.
come out of it not being that way?
That's a really good point.
Like, I really do wonder if
Yeah.
if he has like maybe like a bullying thing going on with her too or something, and she's
Maybe he's kind of into the fact that his family body shames her. You know, because there's some people who don't bully directly, but they bully via other people who
or
bully.
he kind of like does it behind her back with his family or something.
I mean, why else would they feel comfortable enough to say things like that to her? For me, if
that's crazy though.
if your family said something to me that was unacceptable like that, and you were like, well, I just walk away or I remove you from the situation, I would honestly
not
have no
gonna
respect
stop
for
it.
you, because you're not going to defend me and my honor against your family who are blatantly disrespecting me and my body by feeding me bigger plates. They're calling me fat. Every
Especially
Thanksgiving,
this
they
is
feed
the
me a big
person
plate.
that you're clearly, it seems like, is going to spend the rest of your life with. Like, you guys got a house together, you have a kid together.
Yeah.
How are you going to let how are you going to let your family disrespect your new family?
Yeah.
That's literally it's your family.
She should. I really wish I knew how to pronounce the name. It's Dania. Dania, you think?
Say it again.
Dania. Dania.
Dania. Like Dana or
Dania.
Dania.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Your stance is correct. Why don't you defend me? If my family were ever rude to him, I'd put a stop to it immediately. I would too. Like if my family said something to you, even if I didn't register it as rude, if you came to me, I would be like, okay, I will keep a lookout for that, and I'm not going to let that happen to you again. And that's happened with us.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Like with my parents or like with my family, where you're like, you know, I feel uncomfortable around you and so because you guys are both so intense and it makes me feel overwhelmed.
And it's happened with my family too, you know, like in my and we've had fights about that, you know, my parents saying things to you that made you feel uncomfortable, and I was kind of in a situation too of I didn't exactly know how to handle it, because I think literally what we were saying earlier in the episode of like, I never had that connection or that communication with my family. So it is hard for me to communicate to them and to express things to them.
Mm-hmm. Come on, mama.
But if it was like something so blatant as that just happens like in our faces, you know, like something like that is so obvious that you need to speak up and say something
if
immediately.
If one of your family members put their hands on me,
oh
and you
my
didn't
gosh,
say anything,
physical
or you
altercation.
didn't cut them off for life,
you can't be with that person.
Or at least limit their access to me, I wouldn't be able to trust you. Because like, I don't know, by the way that she's talking, it kind of seems like the sister put her hands on her first.
Yeah.
And I would have a huge problem with that. Like I wouldn't be able to bounce back. And then, you know, everybody says, oh, they must have a reason. His aunt telling you to your face, I imagined you with someone thinner and tan, is crazy disrespectful. And for him to not feel like it's his duty as a man to defend your honor is incredibly problematic. And personally, for me, I could not be with somebody that doesn't defend my honor.
No, that's
because I would not feel safe with them in other scenarios. Like, if you're not going to defend me to people that you know, how can I trust you to defend me to people that you don't know? Like, you have this level of familiarity with them that kind of solidifies them in your life, right? So like, at the end of the day, if you check them, they're still going to be your mom, they're still going to be your dad, versus a stranger. Like, if a stranger was to come up and say something like that to me, what would your reaction be? Would you want to walk away and remove me from the situation? Or would you check the stranger and be like, you are not finna talk to her like that?
Yeah, like, you have to check it in those situations. Like, you have to, because it's only going to strengthen your relationship with this person who is your family now. You know, you have a kid with them. That's your new family. So you need to make sure that nobody or nothing is going to disrespect that.
Yeah, she said that her question is, should she build up the courage to tell her boyfriend of 7 years that if his family keeps disrespecting me, that I will walk away? I know it seems drastic, but it's been 7 years of the same BS and I'm so mentally drained. I don't feel like that's an unfair ultimatum.
The fact that she has to ask that question, she's already answered her question. You know, so it's like, if that's how you're feeling and you're reaching out and trying to get answers, I think you have the answer.
Yeah, but it's not that simple. Like, there's been hella times in our relationship where I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I'm about to leave. And I've decided to communicate that boundary with you. And I think that there are some people that you kind of got to give a little bit of grace to, because there's been things in our relationship I've asked you for since year one.
But if it's gotten to the point of a physical altercation,
that's true.
That is such an unhealthy situation. So you guys need to either cut their family off completely, or he has to sit his family down and check them. Like, he has to sit them down, let them know, this is my family now. You know, this is the mother of my child.
Yeah.
You cannot disrespect her. You can't. And if you do, then we will go far away from you and we will never talk to you again.
And then I think what's also important to take inventory of is that if they are poisonous to you, to your face, then who's to say that
shit
they're definitely saying some shit behind your back? Yeah. But who's to say that they're not going to go as far as poisoning your child as well? Like, imagine you drop your child off at your boyfriend's family's house,
at their grandparents'
house, and the mom is like, "Oh my gosh, you're getting fat just like your mother. Oh my God, you're pale just like your mother." You know, in this derogatory way. That is so. And there's a lot of people that do that poison children against their own parents.
Yeah, and you don't want to put them in toxic situations.
I've had that happen to me where I've had opposite family members not like my mom or like my dad, you know, and they've been like, you have an attitude, or I think you're disrespectful, or I think you're rude. You're just like your dad. Or instead they would just be like,
it's like weaponizing your parents.
Oh my God, exactly. Yeah, they'll weaponize your parents against you. And I think that that's a very unhealthy situation to be in. And as somebody, I'm not a parent, but it would make me very uncomfortable, the idea or the fear of dropping my kids off at their aunt and uncle's house or their grandparents' house and having to worry about what my child's being fed all day. That would poison them against me and have them looking at not only me critically and in bad light, but also themselves, because at the end of the day, children are reflections of their parents.
It's going to traumatize a child.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I literally would be, you know, I would hear people talk shit about one of my parents, and then they would look at me and be like, "You're just like that parent."
And you're like, geez, thanks. Like,
and I'm like, okay, well,
you're just saying a bunch of horrible things about them.
I'm 6 and I suck, apparently.
Yeah, you think all of those horrible things about me. Should I think those horrible things about myself? Yeah, like a kid doesn't know that, you know, that aunt and uncle or that grandparent is mentally ill. Right. You know, so you can't decipher that when you're a child.
I don't want to chalk disrespect, bullying, and cruelty up to a mental illness, because that's not mentally ill.
I meant mental illness in a disrespectful way, not in actual like mental illness. I mean, like, they're like a fucking bitch. So you know what I mean? I was just saying they're crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's, you don't want to leave your kid, or you like, oh, man, that is a messed up situation. And I think that what needs to happen is you need to communicate that to your family, that the disrespect has to stop.
Yeah.
It has to stop. If you're going to keep contact with them,
Mm-hmm.
it has to stop. It can't go on. So you're going to have to communicate that to them, make sure they understand that, and make
So
sure
horrible.
that your wife or I don't know if it's your wife, your girlfriend, make sure that she knows that you're in her corner.
Yeah.
And that you have her back, because it seems like she doesn't feel that way right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to make sure of that, because she's like, I'm done with it.
In order to have a healthy relationship, you have to feel like you can trust your man and rely on your man to like take care of you, defend you, protect you, whatever it may be. And I think that as it stands, when you have to reach out to somebody and say, I don't know what to do, I think I'm going to leave, then that's pretty close to an answer of what you should do. But I understand not wanting to give up on the relationship. You have a house and a daughter.
And a kid.
Or, I mean, I don't know if it's a daughter, but like you have a child, right? And another concern is if you guys break up, then you'll have even less control on who your daughter's exposed to. Why do I keep saying daughter?
That's interesting.
You'll have even less control on who your child's exposed to when you're not in the picture of that family.
That's interesting.
So it's kind of like a catch-22.
Like, who is your child going to every other weekend or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It kind of becomes like a catch-22 situation. It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, either way.
That's interesting.
So, and then if they're shaming you for your body, if you leave, then they'll shame you for that. And they will do it to your kid.
Make sure that your partner isn't saying things behind your back to their family. Because why does the family feel so comfortable with doing that? Like, clearly he's not checking them, but make sure that he's not going even above and beyond and being like, oh, I'm like, he's in on the shit talking, and he's saying, yeah, I wish she was thinner too. I wish that she was tanner, whatever it is. Like, you need to make sure that he's not joining in on that, and the family's just making a joke of you, because that's not somebody you want to be with.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to really communicate with your partner and establish a very firm boundary of, we need to have a real conversation. And honestly, this might not be the healthiest thing, but I would personally take an assumptive position. I'd be like, I know you talk shit about me to your family. I know you like say these things about my body to your family.
It's like, why would they say it? Why would they feel so comfortable? Why would they feel so comfortable saying it?
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, yes, you do. Because your sister, blah, 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 and your aunt, blah, 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 and your parents, blah, blah, blah. And then if he says, fine, I might have complained one more time, then you've kind of like, this is manipulative technically, but it also helps you get to the end, the point. It would help you kind of navigate directly what the issue is, because if he said anything to his parents, even if they're like, you don't have a problem with her being fat, and he's like, well, I kind of do, that's really just enough ammunition for them.
Yeah. And then they're like, then it just opens the floodgates on that. Yeah.
I feel so bad for her.
So yeah, I think at the end of the day, you just need to figure out.
Light died. Your light died.
Okay. You just need to figure out, is it worth it?
And
is he
how
going
to communicate with him?
How to communicate with him, and make sure that he figures out how to communicate with his family and let them know that this can't continue.
What do you think she should say to him? How do you think, as a man, what would your advice be to
I would give him an ultimatum. I'd say, hey, if you don't establish this boundary with them, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't take it anymore. It's too discomforting. And I'm not going to live in discomfort.
Yeah, and I think that you should make sure to wrap your child into the fold of this conversation. Definitely. Like, the kid shouldn't be in the room when you're having this conversation necessarily, but make sure that you set the boundary that my child is not to hear these negative things about me. My child is not to be exposed.
I don't trust them around my child.
There are so many family members that I have that are absolutely... there are family members I have that will never meet my children. Yeah. Ever. There are family members I have that will never be in a room alone with my child. Ever. Because I don't trust them. Yeah. And so I think that there needs to be that conversation of, I don't want my children exposed to this person, or this person, because I think that they have toxic and poisonous behavior, and I don't want that ruining my child's mind. And then also making sure to get on the page of this. You have to, I think also, because she said their kid is 5, right? I think that's how old she said the kid was. Yeah, a 5-year-old, right? Okay. And I think that as a mom, if it's possible for you to have a conversation with your kid, hey, has anybody, just to let you know, we have an open communication, and if anybody ever says anything to you that you don't like or that makes you feel uncomfortable, come and talk to mommy about it. Come and talk to me about it, and you and I can work through that together, because I think that that's also important too, because some people don't, and I'm not saying that you do this, right? But some people don't tell their kids it's okay to come talk to me about X, Y, and Z. And so the kid doesn't know that it's a bad thing that they're being fed. That happened to me. Like, I didn't know some of the things that people were saying on both sides of my family were negative because I didn't know what to look for. I just thought it was just like, it felt bad. And I knew it was bad when I was like 9 or 10. Yeah. But before that, it was just like information. Yeah. That I was processing as a child. So I think it's very important to open up that level of communication with your kid where you can say, mommy loves you and you're beautiful, and reinforce whatever they are. And make sure that they know that they have an open forum with you to talk about certain things that'll help them navigate the landscape of your partner's family if they're ever alone with them. Yeah. I think that that's really important.
Definitely.
But I would leave personally.
Yeah, that's not
for
a good
7
situation.
years disrespecting. And I'm sure this isn't even the worst stuff. Like, I mean, this is pretty bad, but to say that they got into a physical altercation and then on top of that, they call her fat and fix her large plates.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's way over the line, so it's up to your partner though to establish that boundary. It's not up to you.
And make sure you let them know that
he has to do it.
It's affecting your mental health, your mental well-being, and therefore the security and the health and well-being of your relationship, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that was a good one. Wow.
Well, it's not good. It's just interesting.
I mean, yeah, it was interesting. Sorry. It was, it was very interesting. Definitely very interesting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so sorry that that's happening to you. And I hope that you find a way through. And honestly, I would like an update. I would like an update. If you're watching now,
send us an update. Send us a listener letter again, just updating us on what's going on. Because, we definitely like to hear, what ends up happening in there. So, but I think you guys will figure it out though. I think if you guys communicate right and, he kind of steps up to the plate, not gonna say that. Hopefully you'll figure it out.
Yeah. But
you
I
have
think
a kid together. You have,
that
you
doesn't
have a
mean
house.
That a man will figure it out.
I know, but I'm just saying that, there's a lot on the line. So.
Yeah. I think that he definitely needs to know how much he stands to lose. And if you ever need time, I mean, personally for me, I would have to take a break. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go visit my parents with our kid for like 2 weeks. Yeah. I got to go because this is horrible. But that's what I would do. I think that open up to him about it, but also be very aware that a lot of people make empty promises, and that if you don't see change by the time that you think the change should have occurred, like if you say to him, I need you to defend me in front of your family and not let them disrespect me, period, the end. And he's like, okay, I'll do it from now on. The next time that they disrespect you and he doesn't say anything, that's your answer. He'll never do it. If he doesn't do it the next time after you have this conversation with him, he will never do it. Yeah. And I think that 7 years is a really pivotal point in a relationship. Yeah, definitely. Because after 7 years, I think that if whatever the behavior, like going into year 8, if that behavior has been the same all 7 years and you're not going to change it in the 7th year, it's going to be the same forever. Yeah. Agreed. So, yeah.
All right. Well, there it is.
Baby, it's because you take the cat hair and you throw it in the air.
I didn't just throw it in the air.
No, you do the thing I saw. Oh, God. Every time.
But that was really interesting. Wow. So
I'm so sorry that
definitely
that's
would like an
happening
update. Definitely would like an update on that. And thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, and thanks for opening up to us. Hopefully the information that we gave you was
Bless you. No, but hopefully getting our opinion on it helped. We've literally been in a relationship for 7 years as well too. So we understand that these are pivotal moments in the relationship, and you're going to have to kind of put down some you're going to have to be strict with it, and make sure that he follows through with that.
Establish your firm boundary and don't be afraid to do so. And hopefully our opinion was helpful to you on your journey. And like we said before, please provide us with an update. We hope you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, cool. Well, that is about it.
Yeah.
With the listener letters. Yep. So keep sending in the listener letters. We have a lot stacked up, so we'll have one every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. So
and the link to our listener letter is in our bio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to the live people, so link to our Instagram and everything, and our listener letters are in our bio. But yeah, so thank y'all so much for joining us on another episode of Hanging Out Forever, our relationship podcast that saved our relationship.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Did. Yeah, it helps us to sit down, communicate. It's great.
Yeah.
So but that's it for another episode.
You love me?
I love you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, love you.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.